In this video, we will talk about directory stack and Tilde expansion. Bash offers a built-in command named dirs, dir with x at the end. So dir for directory and x for stack. And this command prints out the current directory stack. So there is, you need to be careful because there is also the dir command without x that is equivalent to the ls command. So we are very much interested here in the dir with x for directory stack command. And this prints out at least one path. And the path that it prints by default, we can use the -l option with dir to tell dir to show the absolute paths. And we will see that this path that is returned is nothing than our current working directory, which we can show with the pwd, which stands for print working directory command. So these two are basically the same. So the dirs commands return at least one path, which by default is our current path in the file system. So dirs also supports some additional command that would be very handy. For now, we will just see the -v option that prints the directory stack one per line with index. So if we use -v, we will see that our path, or you can combine it with the L to show the absolute path. So we have our absolute path and the index is the index 0. So basically dirs returns by default at least one path, and that path is always the 0. So where we are currently in the file system is always the index 0 in the directory stack. So knowing that, we need to see the two following commands to be able to create a directory stack and move around the directory stack as well. So there is the pushd command, and the pushd is basically push directory. And in argument, we can give it a path. And what it will do is that it will change our current working from our current working directory to the new path that we have given in argument, and then automatically add that directory as the index 0 in the directory stack. So pushd basically allow us to build up the directory stack. So if I wanted to temporarily, for instance, go into the temp directory, I can do pushd /tmp, and then my current working directory will be tmp, of course, because pushd also changed from the current working directory into the path that is given into the argument. So our current working directory will become temp. And notice that when running pushd, it returns now two paths. Temp is the first, and then our previous path is the second. So if we run the dirs command, then we have two paths. We can use the -p option to print one path per line, and we can use the -v command to print the paths with their indexes. So playground was the index 0 before, but with pushd we moved from the playground directory into the temp directory, so the temp directory becomes the index 0. So where we are currently in the file system is always the index 0 in the directory stack. And with this principle, we can actually create, we can add multiple directories to the stack, and the main purpose is to temporarily go into another directory to perform some actions, and with the goal to go back into the previous directory after being done with the action that needs to be handled. So we can have pushd. Let's say I want to go into USR bin now. So basically in the directory stack, -v, -l, we now have 3. So we are currently in the bin directory as a result of this command here. push D with US or bin. Then our current working directory is US or bin, and our previous was temp, and before that we were in playground. And we can still use push D and do sys, for instance, and also add that one to the directory stack. So basically we can build up a whole stack of different directory from which we jump from one to the other. And to remove one directory from the stack, there is the popd command. So when we use, I'll use the deals with D to show the directory stack. We are currently in the sys directory. And if I use popd for pop directory without any arguments, then it will always pop the index 0. So it will remove the index 0 from the stack and also move me from the sys directory where I'm currently into the next directory in the stack. So I can print my current working directory is /sys. So if I do popd, then I will automatically move from sys into USR bin, and sys also is also removed from the stack automatically. So pushd and popd are used to control or to handle the directory stack, basically with pushd to add a new directory onto the stack and popd to remove a directory from the stack. And notice that the latest directory that is added to the stack is always the index 0. And popd also always remove the index 0 when no argument is given. So it's like a last in, first out kind of stack. But given our current directory stack, I'll use the -v option because it always shows the index. It's possible to use pushd, but this time with an index number to rotate and bring a specific index as the top of the stack. So basically, if we want, let's say, the playground to be the top of the stack, we just need to do pushd. Its index is 2, so we just need to add +2. Notice that the plus is important. Yeah, that's how the pushd command knows that we want to rotate the stack like to directory from its current position. So the playground will become the top of the stack when this command is executed, and we are also automatically moved from the bin directory where we were before automatically into the playground directory. So our current working directory becomes playground. And this way it's possible to move between the directory stack. So pushd can do +1. So basically USR bin would become the top of the stack if I rotate this way, or I can still do +2, and then /tmp will become the top of the stack, and then I will automatically get into tmp. So that's how to move around the directory stack without necessarily removing an element from the stack. It's just pushd with the number. So it's also possible to use a negative index number. So if I show the current directory stack with the index, if I want to move to the last element with a 0 index, then I just need to do pushd -0, because -0 is the last element from in the stack. -1 would be the playground, and -2 would be temp. So pushd -0 will move me directly into the bin directory. And I can do -1 or 2. -1 will move me into temp and bring temp as the top of the stack. and so on. So basically, it's possible to use positive indexes and negative indexes to rotate around the stack. And if you want to print a specific index of the stack, we can just use dir and use, for instance, +1, and then it will return the directory located at the index 1 of the stack, and +2 will return the index located, the directory located at index 2 of the stack. And it's also possible to use -0 for the last element in the stack, -1, and so on. So here's followed by an index number with the plus or minus signs return the path of the directory located at that index in the directory stack. And if we want to remove a particular index, a particular directory from the stack, we just need to use popd, let's say -0 to remove the last element. And this will remove the last element without moving into it because it's just getting it out of the stack. We are currently in temp. We're always in the directory at the index 0. And we want, for instance, to remove dix US or bin. So we just need to use push d -0 or push d +2 would be the same. And then it will just get this out of the stack, and then we will have just temp and playground as our current stack list. And if we use popd without any parameter, then the index 0 is removed from the stack and we are automatically moved into the next index available in the stack. So then we get back to playground. With the context of a directory stack in mind, we can now discuss about Tilde expansion. And Tilde expansion is all about how the tilde character is handled when encountered during shell expansion by bash. So the tilde on its own is expanded to the home environment variable, and the home environment variable refers to the current home of the logged in user. So we can actually check it. In most shells, the home environment variable is defined and refers to the home of the logged in user. And so does the tilde character. It's expanded by bash into this home variable by default. And when the home variable is not defined, then it's expanded into the home of the logged in user. And that is the reason why the tiers command before started with tilde, because these tildes refers to home, and home means /home/door here. And when we ask tier to expand everything, then it replaces the tilde properly. There is also the tilde username. So basically here the username is door. Therefore, it's possible to do tilde username, not username, but tilde door, because the username here is door, and this would be expanded into the home directory of the door user. But if the user specified does not exist, then the expansion will not happen. So basically, if I use a dummy value there, dummy, no user exists on the system that is named dummy, so the expansion will not occur and tilde dummy will just be returned. So every time the expansion fails, then the string is just returned as it is, or is just used as it is. But tilde with an existing username will automatically expand into the home directory of that username. There is a tilde plus expansion that expands to the PWD environment variable. So the bash also supports the PWD environment variable that resolves to the current working directory. It's the same result as executing the PWD command. And it's possible to use the tilde plus, and tilde plus also expands into the current working directory basically. And to expand into the previous working directory, there is the tilde minus. So tilde minus expand into the working directory where I was before the current one. And before it was the temp directory. So if I change into slash, let's say, USR, USR this way, then my tilde minus would be playground, because this is my previous working directory and my current one would be in tilde plus, which is slash USR. So we'll just go back into my playground, and to go back into my playground, it would just be tilde slash playground, and bash expansion will probably convert my tilde into the home environment variable or the home directory of the current logged in user. So far so good. The tilde minus also expand to the old PWD environment variable, because there exists also this environment variable. Yeah, and tilde minus just resolve to that same environment variable. Although it's not often encountered in scripts to use the tilde plus and the tilde minus to refer to the current working directory or the old working directory. I think to refer to the current working directory, it would be better to directly use pwd when possible, or actually call the pwd command. There is also the tilde and plus n and tilde minus n, and the plus n and minus n, we have just seen it in the directory stack session, just like for deals or push d or pop d. The concept is the same. Currently, there is only my current working directory, which is the default. So I can use, I can add, let's say temp, or I can add, or let's say USR bin, and I can add, let's say, this push d, I can add USR local. So now I have pretty much a directory stack that look like this one. The tilde plus n expansion is actually equivalent to dir plus dirs plus n. So if I do, let's say, echo tilde like plus 1, which is please return me my current directory stack plus the item or the directory located at the index 1 in my directory stack. So it will resolve to slash sys, and it's the same as running the dirs plus 1 command. This is equivalent to this, and it's like a shortcut here to get the directory stack at the directory located at a specific index in the directory stack. So I can do tilde or plus 2, or yeah, minus 2, why not? It's also possible. And minus 2 is minus 0, minus 1, minus 2 would be USR bin, and then it resolves to USR bin directly, which is also equivalent to tiers minus 2.